Now, I stand here today mindful that for both our nations, these are some complicated times. We have difficult issues to work through within our own countries. And we face dangers and upheaval around the world. And when I look at young people within the United States, I think about the choices that they must make in their lives to define who we'll be as a nation in this 21st century. Particularly as we emerge from 2 wars and the worst recession since the Great Depression. But part of the reason I like talking to young people is because no matter how great the challenges are, their idealism, their energy, their ambition always gives me hope. And I see the same spirit in the young people here today. I believe that you will shape our future. And given the ties between our countries, I believe your future is bound to ours. No, this is part of the lively debate that we talked about. This is good. You know, I have to say we actually arranged for that, because it made me feel at home. I wouldn't feel comfortable if I didn't have at least one heckler. I'd like to focus on how we, and when I say we, in particular young people, can work together. To make progress in 3 areas that will define our time: security, peace, and prosperity. Let me begin with security. I'm proud that the security relationship between the United States and Israel has never been stronger. Never. More exercises between our militaries, more exchanges among our political and military. And intelligence officials than ever before, the largest program to date to help you retain Your qualitative military itch. These are the facts. These aren't my opinions, these are facts. But, to me, this is not simply measured on a balance sheet. I know that here, in Israel, security is something personal. Here's what I think about when I consider these issues. When I consider Israel's security, I think about children like Asher Twito. Who I met in Sderot, children the same age as my own daughters who went to bed at night fearful that a rocket would land in their bedroom simply because of who they are and where they live. That reality is why we've invested in the Iron Dome system to save. Countless lives because those children deserve to sleep better at night. That's why we've made it clear, time and again, that Israel cannot accept rocket attacks from Gaza. And we have stood up for Israel's right to defend itself. And that's why Israel has a right to expect Hamas to renounce violence and recognize Israel's right to exist. When I think about Israel's security, I think about 5 Israelis who boarded a bus in Bulgaria. Who were blown up because of where they came from, robbed of the ability to live, and love, and raise families. That's why every country that values justice should call Hezbollah what it truly is, a terrorist organization. Because the world cannot tolerate an organization that murders innocent civilians. Stockpiles rockets to shoot at cities, and supports the massacre of men and women and children in Syria right now. The fact that Hezbollah's ally the Assad regime has stockpiles of chemical weapons only heightens the urgency. We will continue to cooperate closely to guard against that danger. I've made it clear to Bashar al-Assad and all who follow his orders. We will not tolerate the use of chemical weapons against the Syrian people, or the transfer of those weapons to terrorists. The world is watching, we will hold you accountable. The Syrian people have the right to be freed from the grip of a dictator who would rather kill his own people than relinquish power. Assad must go so that Syria's future can begin. Because true stability in Syria depends upon establishing a government that is responsible to its people. One that protects all communities within its borders, while making peace with countries beyond them. These are the things I think about when I think about Israel's security. When I consider Israel's security, I also think about a people who have a living memory of the Holocaust. Faced with the prospect of a nuclear-armed Iranian government that has called for Israel's destruction, it's no wonder Israelis view this as an existential threat. But this is not simply a challenge for Israel, it is a danger for the entire world. Including the United States. A nuclear-armed Iran would raise the risk of nuclear terrorism. It would undermine the non-proliferation regime. It would spark an arms race in a volatile region. And it would embolden a government that has shown no respect for the rights of its own people or the responsibilities of nations. That's why America has built a coalition to increase the cost to Iran of failing to meet their obligations. the Iranian government is now under more pressure than ever before. And that pressure is increasing. It is isolated. Its economy is in dire straits. Its leadership is divided. And its position in the region, and the world has only grown weaker. I do believe that all of us have an interest in resolving this issue peacefully. Strong and principled diplomacy is the best way to ensure that the Iranian government forsakes nuclear. Weapons. Peace is far more preferable to war. And the inevitable costs. The unintended consequences that would come with war means that we have to do everything we can to try to resolve this diplomatically. Because of the cooperation between our governments. We know that there remains time to pursue a diplomatic resolution. That's what America will do, with clear eyes working with a world that's united. And with the sense of urgency that's required. But Iran must know this time is not unlimited. And I've made the position of the United States of America clear: Iran must not get a nuclear weapon. This is not a danger that can be contained, and as president, I've said all options are on the table for achieving our objectives. America will do what we must to prevent a nuclear-armed Iran. For young Israelis, I know that these issues of security are rooted in an experience that is even more fundamental than the pressing threat of the day. You live in a neighborhood where many of your neighbors have rejected the right of your nation to exist. Your grandparents had to risk their lives and all that they had to make a place for themselves in this world. Your parents lived through war after war to ensure the survival of the Jewish state. Your children grow up knowing that people they've never met may hate them because of who they are. In a region that is full of turmoil and changing underneath your feet. So that's what I think about when Israel is faced with these challenges, that sense of an Israel that is surrounded by many in this region who still reject it, and many in the world who refuse to accept it. And that's why the security of the Jewish people in Israel is so important. It cannot be taken for granted. But make no mistake, those who adhere to the ideology of rejecting Israel's right to exist, they might as well reject the earth beneath them or the sky above, because Israel is not going anywhere. And today, I want to tell you, particularly the young people, so that there's no mistake here. So long as there is a United States of America, Adam lo levid, you are not alone. The question is, what kind of future Israel will look forward to? Israel is not going anywhere, but especially for the young people in this audience. The question is, what does its future hold? And that brings me to the subject of peace. I know Israel has taken risks for peace. Brave leaders Menachem Begin, Yitzhak Rabin reached treaties with two of your neighbors. You made credible proposals to the Palestinians at Annapolis. You withdrew from Gaza and Lebanon, and then faced terror and rockets. Across the region, you've extended a hand of friendship, and all too often you've been confronted with rejection and in some cases, the ugly reality of anti-Semitism. So I believe that the Israeli people do want peace, and I also understand why too many Israelis may be an increasing number. Maybe a lot of young people here today are skeptical that it can be achieved. But today, Israel is at a crossroads. It can be tempting to put aside the frustrations and sacrifices that come with the pursuit of peace. Particularly when Iron Dome repels rockets, barriers keep out suicide. Bombers. There's so many other pressing issues that demand your attention. And I know that only Israelis can make the fundamental decisions about your country's future. I recognize that. I also know, by the way, that not everyone in this hall will agree with what I have to say about peace. I recognize that there are those who are not simply skeptical about peace. But question its underlying premise, have a different vision for Israel's future. And that's part of a democracy. That's part of the discourse between our two countries. I recognize that. But I also believe it's important to be open and honest, especially with your friends. I also believe that politically, given the strong bipartisan support for Israel in America, the easiest thing for me to do would be to put this issue aside, just express unconditional support for whatever Israel decides to do. That would be the easiest political path. But I want you to know that I speak to you as a friend who is deeply concerned and committed to your future. And I ask you to consider 3 points.